Matthew chapter 18 verses 19 through 20. Again I say unto you, that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. His nightmares began each day when he awoke. James Stegalls was 19. He was in Vietnam. Though he carried a small Gideon New Testament in his shirt pocket, he couldn't bring himself to read it. His buddies were cut down around him. Terror was building within him, and God seemed far away. His 20th birthday passed, then his 21st, at last. He felt he couldn't go on. On February 26, 1968, he prayed for it all to end, and his heart told him he would die before dusk. Sure enough, his base came under attack that day, and Jim heard a rocket coming straight toward him. 3 seconds to live, he told himself, then 2, then. A friend shoved him into a grease pit, and he waited for the rocket to explode, but there was only surreal silence. The fuse malfunctioned. For 5 hours, James knelt in that pit, and finally his quivering hand reached into his shirt pocket and took out his testament. Beginning with Matthew, he continued through the first 18 chapters. When I read Matthew chapter 18 verses 19 through 20, he said, I somehow knew things would be all right. Long after Jim returned home, as he visited his wife's grandmother, Mrs. Harris, she told him a night years before when she had awakened in terror, knowing Jim was in Vietnam. She had sensed he was in trouble. She began praying for God to spare his life. Unable to kneel because of arthritis, she lay prone on the floor, praying and reading her Bible all night. Just before dawn, she read Matthew chapter 18, verses 19 through 20. Then she immediately called her Sunday school teacher, who got out of bed and went to Mrs. Harris's house. Together, they claimed the Lord's promise as they prepare for Jim until reassured by God's peace. Having told Jim the story, Mrs. Harris opened her Bible to show him where she had marked the passage. In the margin were the 2 words, Jim, February 26, 1968. I don't think we are nearly aware enough of how crucial our prayers are for the lost and hurting. Sometimes we don't get to see the fruit, but God hears and answers our prayers. Don't be discouraged today. Keep lifting your voice in intercession and expect great things. There's so much work to be done. God bless and carry on.